commercial than a really informative broadcast. But I want to tell you what my plans are for some upcoming broadcasts. So you can see, Dan in Asia. I mean, because I am Dan in Asia, but Facebook Life #1. Actually, maybe I should label it #0 because this is, like I said, more of a prequel or a preview, not a prequel, but a preview. Then it's going to be a real content heavy broadcast. But I use Facebook, as do literally millions of people around the world, and using it for this, that, and the other thing, I've encountered some different ways that people view Facebook and what they do on Facebook, how they go about things on Facebook, what they consider a reasonable use and what they think maybe people shouldn't do. I want to kind of look at that and talk about that a little bit. So, and a lot of the things that I'm going to say here are going to be repeated. So, like I said, this is more like an index or a table of contents for what I plan to be a series of Facebook-related broadcasts. So, for me, and I'm only talking about me, all right. But for me, Facebook is basically a platform to maintain and develop relationships that already exist outside of the internet, right? So keeping contact with friends and family, especially those that we are physically separated from, distance from our friends and family for whatever reasons, because of work or travel or this or that or whatever it is. We are social animals, and we want to keep in contact with our friends and family, even when we can't meet them face to face, or and especially during times of pandemic and so on, as we've all had a year and a half or more of experience now. We find that social media and so on has a lot of value to us, right? So I think, especially, Facebook, I'm concentrating on Facebook, although a lot of my comments can be carried over to other platforms as well. But like I said, to me, it's, maintaining those relationships, maybe developing more relationships to a certain extent. That's one of the things, our friendships, we can advertise to a certain extent our friendships through Facebook. One of the sections on our profile page is our friends, which of course you can hide or display. And so people who are friends with you can theoretically, or at least it's an option for them to be able to look at your list of friends and maybe find someone else that they weren't aware of that is a friend of yours, and then maybe introduce themselves and so on, or things like that. And of course, there are groups and other pages and businesses that have that use Facebook as advertisement, or as gateways to other parts of the company and so on. So it has a lot of different uses. But it seems to me that fundamentally, what I just described for the majority of people, it's, like I said, a way to keep track, a way to maintain contact with friends and family that might be more difficult in other ways. Telephone calls being expensive, and the need with a telephone call for you both to be, on the telephone at the same time, right? So again, given distances. So for example, I'm in Japan, my mother's in America. If I want to call her, I need to be careful of my timing to make sure that I'm not waking her up in the middle of the night, and vice versa with her calling me, and so on, right? Using social media allows us to share photographs, send text-based messages, send video recordings, audio recordings, and so on. Things like that we can share, and then our friends and family are able to view those, to interact with those at their time of their own choosing, which is a huge benefit of this type of platform. As I've been more involved with social media lately, meaning probably for the last year, probably for about the last year, I've really stepped up my involvement in social media. I've noticed a few things that maybe I don't really like all that well. Or again, it's not my place to dictate how anyone else uses a publicly available platform. But things that I think maybe as social media users, a lot of us have, I think, similar experiences and maybe similar ideas about these things. So one of the things I'm talking about are, of course, scammers and so on. People that are using Facebook in order to try and get information, which will probably lead to money in one way or another, right? They try to get passwords or this, that, or the other thing. They're trying to get glean information from different people in order to turn that around into some way to get more money for themselves, right? It might be something as relatively innocent as just mining for information that they can they can then collect a large number of people's information and sell that to someone, confirmed telephone numbers, or telephone numbers matched with an email address and a Facebook account and a telephone number and a photograph and so on, right? That kind of a packet that they can sell. Certain marketing companies might be willing to pay for that and so on, if they can collect, all these different things, which, it's there. And, Facebook is there and available and free to use. And so who's to say that they shouldn't do that? I mean, I'm here to say that I wish that they wouldn't. And when I encounter scammers, which those of you that follow me at all have seen, I've done, I think, 5 scam reports now. I go out of my way to kind of give them a hard time. I try to waste their time and more or less frustrate them as much as possible, hoping that that might be one factor that would lead to them giving up on that type of activity. Whether it's effective or not, I have no idea. But I tell myself that I'm frustrating them and wasting their time, and so that's why I continue to do that. But so that's one thing. The scammers are something, and I want to talk about that. I'm going to continue my scam report broadcasts as I encounter scammers. I'll try to share that experience with you, so that when you see something similar, you'll say, "Oh, I know that ploy. I watched a video about that," and so on. So I want to continue talking about the scammers. Another thing, though, is, and again, I'm not saying that this is wrong. I'm just saying that this doesn't match my idea of what I personally would like to see Facebook, as a platform, and that's people that use it as a dating site. I have run across a lot of people that, again, they look at their friends lists, and these people are whatever their particular situation is, whatever their motivation is, they are in a position where they are looking for some kind of romantic relationship. And they are, again, for whatever reasons, whether it's because due to the pandemic or due to finances or due to the fact that they're located in a small town where the prospects are very limited, whatever the reasons are, whatever their motivations are, they're looking to the internet to try and expand their chances, their selection of possible partners, right? Persons that they might develop a relationship with. And, so again, a pattern that I have seen is for them to, like I said, go through the list of their friends lists of their other friends. They have friends on Facebook, and those friends have lists of friends, and they can go through, peruse those, unless the friend, of course, has the setting set that those friends are hidden. But they can go in there, and so if I am friends with person A and person B is friends with person A, and again, person A has their friends list openly available so that their friends can also see their friends list. Now, person B, who I have no knowledge of, no direct connection with at all, can find me through that friend list, and then send me a friend request, try to send me a text message. I believe that the way it works now with the Facebook Messenger is they can send it, but of course I can refuse to accept that message unless we're already friends. If you're friends, then your friends can send you messages, and that makes sense. If you've accepted them as a friend, then it makes sense that they should be able to contact you, right? You've acknowledged that they're a friend, right? But I have these people that send me friend requests. I don't know them. They don't know me. The only thing that they know about me is I was on someone else's friends list. And, so sometimes, I generally look at their profile, and, some of these friend requests are from scammers, right? And I used to always absolutely decline and delete those friend requests. Lately, because I'm doing the Scam Report broadcasts, I have been accepting some of those scammers, or who I suspect as scammers. Let me be these alleged scammers, okay? I accept them and then use them as part of my material for my scam report and so on. So I do some of that now. But I generally look at the profile, and if it's very, very new, so that they've got, for example, one profile picture and basically no other information, their name and a profile picture and no other information there, I'm likely to not accept them, because why? If, again, as I said, if I accept them as a friend, then they are free to message me, even call me, right? Because in Messenger, you can do audio calls, you can do video calls, right? And, again, I don't want to turn off the notifications because I have family members with whom, again, because we're living far, physically very far distance away from each other, that Facebook Messenger is a very convenient way for us to be able to contact each other. So I don't want to turn off my Facebook Messenger notifications on my devices. But these people that whose friendship I accept now have the ability to also call me or text me any time of day or night, which can be rather obnoxious. um, it used to be, before the internet, calling someone was the only way that, again, if you're separated by distance and you want to contact them quickly, that's the only choice that you have. Now, basically everyone, I mean, even people in third world countries, people that don't have a lot of money, can afford a text capable phone, right? A short message, a messaging capable phone. And so a telephone call, and most people at this point, not just text capable, but the full smartphones. Most people these days seem to have smartphones available to them. And so text messages are obviously, one of the lower tech abilities of these new phones today. And a text message, from my perspective, it's a much less obtrusive way of trying to contact someone, and still in a relatively, more or less instantaneous type of interaction, or at least potentially instantaneous interaction. You send a text, they see it almost immediately, and then they can reply to you. But much less obtrusive than a telephone call, because again, telephone call, you both have to be online at the same time and so on. And a telephone call, generally the telephone will ring until you answer, or it times out, or something like that, right? Where with a text message, generally it's a ping or a bleep or some very short sound signal, or you could put it on silent mode, of course, and so on. But it's relatively short and unobtrusive. But given that all these phones have this ability to send the short text, it bothers me. And again, I'm only talking about me. It bothers me when people that I don't know directly have sent me a friend request, and because of my either poor judgment or feelings of curiosity or generosity or whatever, for whatever reasons, I choose them. Text remains, yeah. Text remains, yeah. Okay. But I've chosen to accept their friend request, and then suddenly, without even a text hello, they will call me through the Facebook Messenger. Hello from Corpus Christi. Yes, welcome. Yes. That just seems, I feel that it's rude to, I know that the other person has, that I, or me being the other person, I know that I have accepted their friend request, which technically that's an okay for them to contact me, right? That's the way the platform works. If you are friends with someone on Facebook now, you can send them a text message. You can make an audio or a video telephone call to them, right? That's the way it works. But like I said, it's so much more obtrusive to make an audio or video call than it is to send a text and something like, "Can I call you now?" And if you don't get an answer, my assumption would be that either they don't want a call, or probably more likely they're just busy and can't reply right now, to even say no, please wait, not right now, or something like that. Or it would take very, very little to send a text message that simply says, "Can I call now?" Right? And the person can respond by either, right, just calling you back, right? You've asked to call. So if you ask me, "Can I call you now?" my assumption is, if I call you, it's not going to be a bad thing to do, right? But without that check, without sending a simple text question, "Can I call now?" to just out of the blue call someone that you have no real relationship with is just, like I said, I consider it a rude thing to do. And I'm kind of interested to get more people talking about this and see if we can get some kind of worldwide, global community, acceptance of some kind of protocols here, some kind of accepted behaviors for using these social media. It just doesn't make sense to me to suddenly call someone that you just have no relationship with. And I've had people that have done that. They've sent me a friend request. I checked them out. They seemed like a legitimate person. I don't know them, but maybe they live in an area that have been to or I'm interested in, or they've gone to they're a part of an organization or have been attended a school or something like that I have either been to or been part of or attended or something. There's some kind of connection there, and so I accept them. And then really it's a very tenuous connection, but it's worth, I thought, okay, I don't want, I'm a little curious, find out who this person is. And then the next thing I know, they're trying to video call with me, right? No, hello, how do you do? Can I call you now? No, none of that. It's, a telephone call right away. Like, we are communicating now, but why would I call you? Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I've accepted your friend request. I mean, that opens the door to communication, but why jump to a video call, right? Why not say, hi, thanks for accepting my friend request. I'd like to video call with you now, if it's okay. And if the guys, or if the other person says, no, I'd prefer not to, then, okay, then it's no. If he says yes, that's fine, then it's yes. I mean, but why not ask first? And especially when you don't know what their schedule is. Are they at work? Are they sleeping? Like I said, I'm in Japan. My mother's in America. Our times are basically, opposites, right? There's 14 hours difference, between their time, her time and my time, right? So I don't like to turn on, to put my phone on manner mode or, do not disturb, because if something happens, my mother, today is her birthday. She turned 94 years old. And so I don't want to block some kind of communication if somebody needs to contact me or feel strongly that they should contact me for something related to my mother, right? Especially. I'm also a parent. My daughter lives close by to me. She doesn't live with me, but close by. So that's not such a thing, although her work schedule is very different than mine. So again, I don't want to block things. The huge majority of my friends, my real friends, are enough familiar with my schedule through actual interactions with me over a period of time that they know more or less when it's okay to call me and when it's not, right? But even so, those people will almost always text me rather than call, or text before they call. Very seldom do I get a sudden telephone call from anyone anymore. It's 10 p.m. in Texas. I'm going to bed, so don't call me. Right? Yeah. I mean, I wish I could. There should be, a universal, should I say, announcement, that I can put out across all my telephone contacts and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram and whoever. It's like, okay, it's my bedtime. Don't try to contact me unless it's an emergency, right? Or I'm teaching in the classroom now. Don't call me, right? Of course, in the classroom, I generally, put it I ask my students, and I put my telephone on manner mode. Um, Even so, it's a little distracting when your phone is vibrating and so on. So I would prefer people, of course that can't be helped, right? But these, like I said, I'm not talking about the real unintentional, just happens that the timing is bad type of things, from my friends or family. But these people, like I said, that don't know me, but I've accepted their friend request, and then they feel that that's an open invitation to video call me. I wish that there was a setting that you have to text me before you can call me or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. That's one of the things that bothers me. And then sometimes they'll call me, or sometimes occasionally they'll text with me and so on, and I find out very quickly. It's like, hello. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm okay, or I'm good. And then how's your family? But they don't know me well enough to know anything about my family. And I found out that a lot of them are they're just basically trying to find out if I'm married or not. Uh, because they're, like I said, using Facebook. And I'm like I said, this is Facebook life. They're using Facebook as a dating app. And I know that there are places, I don't know where in the world, but I know that there are places where Facebook has some kind of a special agreement going on where you can use uh, a kind of a limited version of Facebook, basically data free, right? It doesn't cost you data um, in order to be able to text and even uh, do video calls within like the Messenger app and so on. So people that don't have the money to buy credits or data for their phone are still able to use Facebook, right? So it's a very cheap way to contact people, and that's a wonderful thing. And I'm not knocking Facebook for that thing, but um, that has prompted a large number of people to, like I said, use Facebook as a dating app. It's like, oh, hey, I can go on there and search through my friends and check and see if any of them are married. And I mean, if they're friends of my friends, then maybe they've got, maybe there's some kind of something going on there, right? But again, sometimes it's friends of friends of friends, and the connection becomes very tenuous and so on. So again, like I said, again, this is only me, I know, but my personal use pattern for use scenario for Facebook is to keep contact with my friends and family, even though I'm separated from them, and to a much smaller extent, maybe develop some more professional relationships. I've gone to conferences with people and so on, or gone to conferences and met people there, and it's okay, we exchange email addresses and maybe Facebook profiles and so on, right? Because it's another way to keep track of people. I use Facebook to advertise seminars or conferences that I am lecturing at, and so on, right? So Facebook has, I mean, it's more than just friends and family, sharing photographs and so on. I know that, but I guess it's the combination of people using it as a dating app, and then the sudden unannounced telephone calls that kind of bothered me. Or I mean, it's almost as bothersome when they send you a friend request, you chat with them a little bit, they ask you, are you married, and say, yeah, I'm married, and say, okay, goodbye. And then it's like, all right, so obviously the only interest in me was, it had nothing to do with anything except, am I a potential marriage partner, I guess, I guess maybe another part of that is, people that use it as a method for maybe extramarital affairs and so on, right? People that are married and are still looking to play around and so on. And I'm not judging. People have all kinds of different relationships and so on. But then, people that don't want to get involved in that, and but that's what bothers me. They send me a friend request, not knowing anything about me, not knowing. I mean, almost always the first question is, where are you from? Where are you from, and are you married? I mean, those, come up right away. If they would have taken the time to look at my profile, they would know both of those answers, but they didn't. And again, maybe that has to do with the way Facebook functions in some places. Maybe viewing the Facebook profile in this limited mode, this free data mode, doesn't allow you to see all this information in the same way. I don't know. I don't really know, but anyway, it's a little bit frustrating. They send you a friend request, you accept, you start up a conversation, and as soon as you get to the answer, yes, I'm married. Okay, well then why are you chatting with me? Goodbye. It's like, why am I chatting with you? Because you sent me a friend request and I accepted. I mean, I'm not looking for anything. Why did I accept then? Why did I accept? Like I said, either the person listed, and again, this could all be fabricated too. I've found so many Facebook profiles where their profile information is fictitious. Their name is fictitious. Where they live is fictitious. Their education is fictitious. Their work is fictitious. Again, that's fine, I guess, but how do they expect, when a person like that sends me a friend request and then I ask them, I'm talking to them, and, the information that I'm learning through the conversation doesn't match what's in their profile. I'm like, okay, this person is at best dishonest. Is the way I see it. They have intentionally put dishonest information in their profile. Why? Again, to me, friends and family being able to find me on Facebook, contact me on Facebook, right? Share with me on Facebook. That's the main thing. So if you're in there and your name is not your real name, your location is not your real location, your education and work are not your real information, how are you ever going to make contact with any of the friends that you might have lost contact? Some high school friend of yours that you haven't had contact with for a few years now, for whatever reason, is high school reunion or whatever, they want to contact you, they can't find you, right? So I mean, to me, that's one of the nice things about Facebook. I never go back to my high school reunions, but it kind of is pleasing to me that every once in a while I get an invitation to a high school reunion through Facebook. For people that are actually into going to high school reunions, I think that would be very nice. They'll probably, keep better contact with their old high school classmates than I do, so maybe that's not even necessary. But yeah, for some of us that maybe have been out of contact for years, but maybe have had a change of heart and would like to go to the 40 year or high school reunion or something like that. Actually, I guess I've missed my 40-year high school reunion. Look forward to the 50-year high school reunion. But anyway, for people like me, for people like that, if my information is not correct, how is anybody from my high school going to find me? It just doesn't make sense to me. Why go to the bother of making a Facebook profile if it's not going to be accurate at all? Of course, there's the polar opposite of that are the people who I think, again, this is all my opinion, nothing more, that I think, in bad judgment, put way too much of their personal information in their Facebook profile. I mean, birth dates. I think maybe my birth date is available to my friends. I don't think it's publicly available, but I think if you're a friend of mine, you can find my birth date. Because I figure, why not? You know, even my high school friends, it's been a long time. They may have forgotten what day my birthday is on, right? And they want to wish me a happy birthday. Fine, why not? Okay. But, you know, so birth dates is one thing, but, you know, like detailed addresses, telephone numbers, these seems like bad ideas. Detailed family relationship, you know, information, seems like a bad idea because of things like scammers, hackers that go on and try to get that information from you. And then, you know, if they find out that, you know, your mother is so-and-so, right? And they go onto your mother's site and they talk about, you know, some or your cousins or whatever, and find out what your cousins' names are, that they're related to your mother. Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe that's your mother's maiden name, right? And now, okay, now they've got, which is one of the common, backup questions or whatever for recovering your password. What's your mother's maiden name or something like that, right? Or, you know, anyway, all these different kinds of things that the information, you know, people put too much information. To me, I would recommend to people, again, just my opinion, do it your own way, but my recommendation would be to put true information, but limit it to just the necessary information, right? You know, if you want people from your high school to be able to contact you, I mean, yeah, put your high school in there, put your name in there. Why not? You know, if you want people that maybe used to work where you work now, or something like that, you know, some kind of work relationships, or you're in a big company and you want people in the company to be able to contact you through Facebook, yeah, put your company information in there and so on. But just because there's the blank in the profile doesn't mean that you need to fill it in, except for the few things that you do actually have to fill in, right? But those are fairly rare. But yeah, to me, it's suspicious when somebody has information in their Facebook profile that is not true. And I find out fairly quickly that it's not true when I talk to them, and then that has ruined the relationship. Now there's this dark shadow over the relationship, so I'm not going to trust them, or it's going to take a lot for me to trust them now. They're going to have to justify why they've done that. And a lot of people, and I think maybe, reasonably so, are offended when you start asking them, why do you have the wrong hometown here? Why, I say, how is it in Santa Barbara now? I'm not in Santa Barbara. Oh, really? Your Facebook profile says that? No, I just put that. Oh, well, why did you do that? I'm asking them questions, why Santa Barbara? Have you ever lived in Santa? I'm like curious as to why they manufactured that false information there. And they get, it's like they just type something in there. And that's like, to me, again, if I'm a scammer and I was going to create a profile, which I've actually, not for scamming, but I just, out of curiosity, just to see what it took, I created a Facebook profile, fictitious. And this is another thing that I'm going to be talking about in one of my broadcasts, or at least one of my broadcasts, is to make people aware of what people can do, how easy it is to make a fairly realistic, believable Facebook profile, and it still be totally manufactured. So I just played around and using Gmail, which you can freely create a Gmail account, using web-based SMS, short messages, text messages that are web-based rather than tied to a telephone number. You can get a temporary telephone number and use that to receive text messages, which I think Google requires for you to make a new Gmail account. But anyway, so through a totally anonymous method, you can create a brand new Gmail account that is not connected with any of your information at all. Use that Gmail account now as a way to create a new Facebook account, right? And you can get, of course, you can get the Facebook account verified through the Gmail. You can reuse that telephone number, so it's doubly verified, both a verified telephone number and an email address through Gmail, neither of which are actually tied to your information in any way. So now you've established this Facebook account. You can put a fictitious name on there. A simple internet search will be able to find pictures that are in the public domain. And with a little bit of searching, you can find 2 or 3 or 4 different pictures, all of the same person in slightly different poses or whatever, slightly different settings or something like that. And you could, use one of those as your profile picture. Have a cover picture that's again different. Upload a couple of the other pictures of this, basically the same person that you found. Stagger those over a period of a couple of weeks or a couple of months or something like that to give the impression that this was all not just hacked out here in the last couple of days, but that you spent some time with this, that you're a real person, right? I haven't spent any money. I don't have anything that can be tied to me in any way, and yet I have a Facebook account with a verified telephone number, a verified email address, and 2, 3, 4 pictures of the same person in slightly different poses or different settings. For somebody that doesn't look into things very carefully, I can do a search. Pick out some medium-sized town somewhere in any country I care to. Again, a quick internet search, find out what a elementary school, high school. If it's a medium-sized town, it might have a university there also. Find the names of those schools in there and put those, use the name of that city as well as those elementary school, high school, university. Put those in my Facebook profile. It's looking pretty legitimate, and it's all been manufactured in the court. To do all that, I mean, aside from staggering the upload of the photographs, which of course would actually take an amount of time, but actually finding that information and typing that into Facebook and creating the Facebook account, creating the email address, creating that, or verifying that actual false telephone number, we're talking about maybe 10-15 minutes. Probably if I don't think it took me that long. Maybe 10 minutes to do that. Now they use that account to try to scam or hustle or whatever the thing is. How many people? They've got a Facebook account that on a cursory examination looks legit. People need to be aware of that. I don't want to teach people how to do it. Because I've seen a lot of these quickly thrown together Facebook profiles that are not as complete or are not as convincing as what I've just described. They basically don't even bother to put a hometown or bother to put an employment or I didn't talk about employment. That's another thing. You could find another city. My suggestion is find another city just, close by, but not the same city as where you grew up, but another one close by. So after you finish school, then, you went to the next bigger town, right? Ohio and Pennsylvania in the States are a couple of good places for that. There's a lot of medium to small cities that, have schools that you can use, even colleges or universities that you can use. And there's a lot of other cities there with populations big enough that you could claim to have a job at a medium to large company there. And it would all seem perfectly reasonable, right? It takes hardly any time at all. And yet people don't do that. They're out there. They're so anxious to start scamming people. And yet I guess people are so anxious to be scammed that they don't even investigate these false profiles on Facebook. Or maybe, they've encountered so many people that are either, paranoid or lazy or whatever their reasons for not doing a good, accurate Facebook profile. Maybe that's it. You've got a lot of people that have found others that don't have accurate or complete Facebook profiles. And so they say, well, this person doesn't have a very complete Facebook profile, but yeah, a lot of people don't. So maybe this one's legit too. To me, if it's not complete, if it's not consistent, it's suspect. Like I said, you don't have to share basically anything. I mean, you have to share your name on Facebook, but that's about the only thing that you have to share. You can keep your email address hidden. You can keep your phone number hidden. You don't have to share your hometown. You don't have to share your birth date. You don't have to share basically anything. You can turn that all off in the preferences, right? So rather than type in a bunch of false information, why not just hide it? Anyway, so these are some of the topics. Actually, I've gone into more detail actually than I had planned on, but I plan to do a series of these. How to create a good, legitimate Facebook profile without sharing too much. All right. That's one thing I want to talk about. The other thing is when somebody sends you a request, what should you do to check them out before you accept? And then once you've accepted somebody's friend request, what should you do to confirm that this person is legit and not, somebody using this as a scammer platform or data mining, trying to get your information or whatever, and things like that. I'm not a trained expert in this area, but I've been using Facebook for a long time. And I do have some background in computing, and I mean, just generally using a computer for my work and leisure for a long time also. So that's the perspective that I plan to give. And I hope that it proves valuable to people. Probably going to do it here on Haps and multicast it to Facebook and YouTube. I think if people have questions as they go along, I'm happy to answer your questions. I want it to be, an educational type experience. I want to share this information because there's just too many people that are, in my view, abusing are misusing and abusing the Facebook platform, as well as the other social media platforms also, but I'm going to focus on Facebook. Maybe I'll look at later on, I'll look at other platforms and talk about concerns and things that are specific to other platforms. But I think Facebook, in my experience, is one of the most abused, and so it's highest on my priority list of topics to talk about. So keep a lookout for these kind of broadcasts. I'm going to try and set up a schedule for those. Haven't got that set up yet, but try and make it something that's reasonable for you. And then maybe I'll even edit some of these. Like I said, I want to do them live, but then maybe I'll edit them and make a more concise, cohesive type of videos that I'll release on platforms like YouTube and so on. So anyway, keep your eye out for those type of things, and I'll keep plugging away at it. All right. So thanks everyone for listening. Send me your questions or comments. Yeah, if you look in my profile here on HAPS, or if you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, you should be able to find a way to contact me on any of those platforms. Please do. If you got questions, I'll try to answer them. And yeah, that's all for today. Thanks and goodbye.